You may not realize it, but some of the most ordinary foods sitting in your pantry right now, foods you've eaten for years, maybe even fed your kids, have actually been banned in countries around the world. We're not talking about obscure or exotic items. We're talking about everyday staples: sandwich bread, chips, candy, soda, even hot dogs. The reason? It's not the food itself, it's what's in it. Chemical additives, artificial dyes, preservatives with known links to cancer, hormone disruption, developmental disorders, and more. These ingredients have been restricted or outright prohibited in places like Europe, Japan, Australia, and the UK. But in the United States, they're still perfectly legal, and they're in everything. So how did this happen? And what exactly are we eating without even realizing the risks? Let's take a deep dive into 15 American foods that have been banned elsewhere, breaking down the hidden dangers behind each one and what it means for your health. Let's start with a basic, seemingly harmless item: store-bought bread. Walk into any supermarket in the US and you'll find shelves filled with fluffy white loaves, soft wheat rolls, hamburger buns, and sandwich bread. But many of these products contain potassium bromate, a chemical additive used to strengthen dough, speed up the baking process, and help bread rise higher. In industrial food production, time is money, and potassium bromate offers a shortcut. But here's the problem. Studies have shown that potassium bromate can cause tumors in the kidneys, thyroid, and other organs in animals. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies it as a possible human carcinogen, meaning it could cause cancer in people as well. In response, countries like the UK, Canada, Brazil, and the European Union have completely banned its use in food. Even China, the world's biggest industrial powerhouse, has said no to potassium bromate. But in the US, it's still allowed, largely because of an assumption that baking the bread at high temperatures will eliminate the risk. However, independent tests have shown residual bromate can remain in the final product. So the next time you're eating that soft white sandwich bread, you might be chewing on more than you bargained for. Now, let's talk about a snack almost all of us love: potato chips. Crispy, salty, and seriously addictive. What's not to love, right? But here's the thing. When foods high in starch, like potatoes, are cooked at high temperatures, especially during frying or baking, they form a chemical called acrylamide. This compound doesn't come from an ingredient on a label. It forms naturally as a byproduct of the cooking process. Why is that a problem? Because acrylamide has been shown to increase the risk of certain types of cancer in animal studies. The European Food Safety Authority has stated there is no safe level of exposure to acrylamide. In the EU, food manufacturers are legally required to reduce acrylamide levels and publicly report their findings. In contrast, the US has issued only voluntary guidelines, meaning manufacturers can choose whether or not to act, and most don't. So every time you reach into that chip bag, especially ones that are extra crispy or browned, you may be consuming a chemical your body never asked for. Let's move into the sweet zone. Candy, especially those colorful, fruity, chewy types that fill trick-or-treat buckets, birthday party goodie bags, and checkout aisles. On the surface, candy looks fun, harmless, even nostalgic. But under the bright colors and shiny packaging, there's a darker story. Many popular candies in the US are loaded with artificial dyes, like red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, and high fructose corn syrup, a highly processed sweetener that's been linked to obesity, diabetes, and liver disease. These dyes don't just make food look bright, they've been connected to hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and even potential links to cancer in animal studies. In the European Union, products containing these dyes must carry a warning label stating that they may cause adverse effects in children. This has pushed many companies to reformulate their candy recipes for European markets, using natural colorants like beet juice or paprika extract instead. So here's the wild part. The same American candy brands that use artificial dyes in the US use safer alternatives in Europe. Why? Because they have to. But in the US, where no such warning labels are required, companies cut costs by sticking to the synthetic stuff. Now let's crack open a cold one. Not a beer, but a bottle of soda. Especially citrus-flavored ones like Mountain Dew and certain sports drinks. In these drinks, you might find an ingredient called brominated vegetable oil, or BVO. This substance was originally used as a flame retardant in plastics. It helps keep the citrus flavoring from separating in the liquid, making your drink look uniform and appealing. Sounds clever, right? Until you find out that bromine, the chemical at the core of BVO, can build up in your tissues over time, potentially leading to memory loss, skin lesions, hormone imbalances, and neurological disorders. Japan, India, and the European Union have banned the use of BVO in food and drinks. But here in the US, it's still legal in many beverages. Consumer pressure has pushed some big brands, like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, to remove it from certain products. But many cheaper or lesser-known brands still use it. So unless you're checking the label every single time, you could be drinking a little dose of flame retardant with your sugar and fizz. Next up, processed meats. Hot dogs, bacon, ham, and deli meats. These items are iconic in American culture. From baseball games to Sunday breakfasts, they're everywhere. But they're also one of the most concerning foods on this list. That's because they're preserved using sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate, compounds that help meats retain their pink color and prevent bacterial growth. Sounds good, right? Until you cook them at high temperatures, like grilling or pan frying. That's when these compounds can convert into nitrosamines, which are carcinogenic. The World Health Organization has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there's strong evidence they cause cancer in humans. The same category includes tobacco and asbestos. Some countries have set strict limits or outright bans on nitrites in food, encouraging alternative preservation methods. But in the US, processed meats are still standard fare, and nitrites remain widely used despite the risks. Let's shift gears and talk about something most people never question: pre-shredded cheese. When you buy a bag of shredded cheese, you're not just getting cheese, you're also getting a little something extra: cellulose. That's right, wood pulp. It's added to prevent the cheese shreds from clumping together. It sounds weird, but technically it's plant fiber, and the FDA says it's safe in small amounts. But here's the kicker: cellulose has no nutritional value, and it replaces actual cheese in the bag. In Europe, regulators strictly limit the amount of cellulose that can be added to cheese. In the US, there's no hard cap, just industry guidelines. Then there's the college staple: instant noodles. Cheap, salty, and ready in 3 minutes. But what most people don't realize is that many instant noodles contain TBHQ, tertiary butyl hydroquinone, a synthetic preservative made from petroleum. It's used to extend shelf life and prevent oils from going rancid. Animal studies have linked TBHQ to liver enlargement, neurotoxicity, and even precancerous conditions in the stomach. Some countries like Japan and the UK have heavily restricted or banned it outright. In the US, it's still found in tons of packaged snacks, frozen foods, and yes, instant ramen. Let's keep going. Frozen dinners, microwavable burritos, and other convenience foods often contain a cocktail of questionable ingredients, from artificial dyes and MSG to preservatives like BHA and BHT. These chemicals have been flagged in multiple studies as potential endocrine disruptors, meaning they can mess with your hormones, reproductive system, and even brain development. Both BHA and BHT are banned in parts of the EU, yet they're still added to American cereals, snack bars, and frozen meals to help them stay fresh on shelves for months. Jelly beans may look like innocent candy, but they're often coated in shellac, a resin secreted by the female lac bug. The real concern, though, is the synthetic dyes and artificial flavors, especially Red 3, which has been linked to thyroid tumors in animal studies. While Red 3 was banned in cosmetics in the US in 1990, it's still allowed in food. Why? No one really knows, but it shows how outdated and inconsistent American food regulations can be. And we can't leave out sports drinks and energy drinks, which are marketed as performance boosters. Many of these drinks contain artificial dyes, sweeteners, and caffeine levels that are unregulated for kids and teens. In several European countries, energy drinks are age-restricted due to concerns over heart health and mental health in adolescents. In the US, they're sold next to the water bottles. So what's really going on here? According to people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the deeper issue lies in the corporate capture of regulatory agencies. The FDA and USDA often act after harm is proven, not before. In countries that follow the precautionary principle, questionable ingredients are banned until they're proven safe. In America, it's the opposite. Ingredients are allowed until they're proven dangerous, often years or even decades later, after irreversible harm is done. But this isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. Once you start reading labels, researching ingredients, and choosing whole or minimally processed foods, everything changes. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight, but swapping out processed junk for cleaner alternatives can transform your health. Every label you read, every additive you avoid, every real food you choose, that's power. So next time you're standing in the grocery aisle, holding a box, a bag, or a bottle, ask yourself, why is this banned in other countries but not here? What are my long-term health risks, and do I deserve better? The answer is yes, you do deserve better. If this video opened your eyes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Check out the links in the description for resources, clean food swaps, and more eye-opening content. Knowledge is power, and your health? That's priceless.